So in a sense, there's no such a thing as you must observe precepts. But if we say we take refuge in the Buddha, what does it mean? The simplest sense of the practice is, that means you take Buddha as your teacher. Then nominally, we should know what the Buddha is teaching. Yeah, what he stands for. He stands for love, compassion, and wisdom. He stands for that our suffering has a cause. He stands for that what we think as not suffering, actually we have to take a closer look and you will realize that it's a different form of suffering. He stands for that our suffering is due to our defilements, not something outside. He stands for observing that all conditioned phenomena is subject to change, subject to conditions, and is not inherent, not substantial. And he observed that there's a certain pattern in our life, in all humanity, all sentient beings, that as long as you act in a certain way, there are certain results. And he saw this pattern and established what we call the 5 precepts. The first 4, which are actions acted out that is harmful. And the pattern is that as long as someone acts in this way, he observed that eventually, when conditions are right, painful results arises. But still, he don't force people to say, so I command you, you cannot kill. No, he don't say that. But he merely teaches people, well, insofar as anyone who do this, painful results arise. Now you have to ask yourself, you have to think for yourself, do you want suffering? If you don't want suffering, how can you be perpetuating suffering and expecting no suffering to arise? And so those who find this reasonable enough, yeah, and make sense, then may decide, hey, this guy's explanation, hey, makes sense, you know. Yeah, I like to learn more from him. I like to become his disciple and go in the same direction. Go in the same direction meaning what? Not there yet, but in that direction. The Buddha is at a state where he's free from greed, hatred, and delusion, free from suffering. We have to go towards that direction to be free of suffering like him. But we're not there yet, but in order to be there, then we say, what are the practices required? So not so much that we must observe the 5 precepts, but if you agree to this extent to become a disciple, then quite naturally you will strive to observe the precepts. We may not be able to 100% fulfill it all the time, but we would still in our mind say, this is the right direction. It is just like we don't expect our kids to get 100 points, but we expect our kids to strive to understand 100% of what is being taught. Isn't it? Correct or not? Ash, yeah? When you go to school, he said the same thing. Good disciple. Yeah, it makes sense, right? You go to school doesn't mean that you will manage to know 100%, but you should be striving in which direction? To learn 100% or 100%? To aim to learn 100%. But due to our own personal inclination, our own personal strength and weaknesses, then we may only capture maybe less than 100%. For those who are really brilliant and really attentive and so on, they may capture 100% and be able to infer the next 20%. Then we say, oh, this kid is really good. Without being taught the next part, he already know what is the next part. But we don't expect he have to be like that. So 5 precepts Not so much that you must or not, but once we learn enough of the teaching as a disciple, then quite naturally, yeah, it's a natural choice of conduct.